response in the back. And then what do? Oh, the data's not so good. But then you rationalize why it's okay because you've bought into the emotional piece. So very, very powerful. So a good read if you want to go back, follow up, developing the essential criteria. That's that Simon Sinek's the how and the what after you get the why clear for people. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Here's where the word talisman comes in. What I've done is, with another fellow I work with quite a bit, we'll go into organizations, we'll work on the vision. And the idea of creating a physical object or a talisman or an emotion picture box is a little bit out there for some people. But after you get them over the initial hurdle and you explain the purpose and function of why this works, and you go through the kind of exercise I just did, they understand. And so what we do is we tell them to go away and literally make it real. So I'll do a workshop, they'll develop all that essential criteria, they'll do all kinds of brainstorming about that imagined future. Their plan then, or their job is to go away and distill that down into those final images for that box that it comes in, literally. But what we do is we do something sneaky. What we say is, start with a box, it's an easy place to start, but if you want to do something different than a box, please feel free. And here's where normal group instincts kick in. Because always they come back with something that's not a box. So it's just a launching point to explain to them. I've got a lighthouse here because early on when we first tested this out, at an organization they said, do we have to do a box? I said, no, you can do anything you want. We came back 6 weeks later, and it was a manufacturing plant, so they had maintenance people. They had created a 3-meter tall lighthouse, this talisman. It was the most astounding thing that I've ever seen. It had a light in the top that actually flashed. It had a rotating base that actually turned. And the other thing is all these bricks on here had the name of every single person in the organization. The upper half had images of the imagined future, photographs of what they imagined the future would be, drawings, their own drawings. It also had what's in it for me, pictures of what it would mean to the individual. Think about the engagement of that group that created that talisman. Do you think they had huge ownership and excitement around? It was off the scale. It was literally off the scale. And here's the thing, some key points in creating that talisman. And I've seen many other versions. I've seen people that created giant mailboxes that open up and it lights up inside and there's all kinds of data inside. My good partner, Tony Newport, he's working with a yogurt company in the French-speaking part of Canada right now. They're actually creating, I don't know how tall it's going to be. Again, it's an operations plant, so they have people who can weld and stuff. They're actually building a metal tree that's going to go out in their plant. In creating talismans like this, you have to have people from the mindland and the heartland of the organization build it together. There's huge social capital that's built between the people of the organization across that trust chasm by physically building this thing together. It brings them together. It bridges that trust chasm. Unbelievable ownership. So it no longer becomes management's vision, because it's created by people at all levels of the organization, because you need people at all levels to create something like that. Management's not going to get down and physically build something. They'll be part of it, but you need everyone involved. The other thing is that it's visual, it's tactile, it's spatial, and it's verbal, it's kinesthetic. It has all those things. You show them pictures of what other people do, right? So immediately they get the idea of where we can go with this. But it's so important because you engage people at all kinds of different levels now. They can't help but be engaged tactically, tactile, visual, physically with this object. If it's a large lighthouse, they literally come up to it and look at it and stand, and they have to walk around it. It's a beautiful thing to watch. It's absolutely amazing. So let's take it into the home stretch here. This whole idea of trying to get rid of that, what I call that disease of vanilla pudding in an organizational vision statement. For me, the way I've discovered is to create a physical object, a talisman. And what I realized after the first couple experiences with this, that it's a very natural thing for a group of people to do. people aspire to having a talisman, but our work culture doesn't really support it or think that it's a good idea normally. But once you get an organization over the initial hurdle and they can see the value of this, they're hooked. They never want to go back. It's just the most emotional attachment you can imagine, and it sticks. And the fact that you get people at all levels of the organizations to create it together bridges that trust chasm just in an unbelievable way. So I like to say that it becomes the greatest vision ever not told, but the greatest vision ever seen. I've given you kind of a whirlwind tour through, what I call the emotion picture box here. Hopefully it inspires you to, maybe think a little bit different about creating a vision for your organization and trying to go to create something that has lots of emotion in it. Simple pictures communicate so much that you can't communicate in words. And what happens when we get into the words, we try to pick the perfect word, and we never can. And it becomes vanilla. With an emotional picture, you can say so much, so quickly, that you can't say in words. And people understand it very, very quickly. But there's nothing more frustrating than spending months, literally in some cases, months working on a vision. And then once it's created, it goes on the wall, and it's quickly ignored. Such a disappointing experience. A totally different experience, a radically different experience, and a very, as I discovered, a very natural human thing to do. We all, make sure I got the right finger up there. We all, whether we use it, use talismans every day, things that have tremendous meaning and emotion to us. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Jim, thank you very much. It's when I talk or when I listen to a speaker there, in my mind I always, without wanting to evaluate, you evaluate in a certain kind of way, and the way that I do it is to kind of say to myself, did this person reach my mind, and did this person reach my heart? It's a critical kind of thing. I think a lot of people just don't get it right. I really want to say to you that this morning in this short presentation, there's so much mind power that you gave up. There's so much learning that took place here, but you spoke from your heart. It was a dual kind of thing. So when you did not only speak about the emotion side of the vision, you kind of portrayed it, and it was special listening to you. Thank you very, very much. I think it was a special morning for all of us. I remember my Sunday school teacher of 7 million years ago. She had kind of, it's interesting how when you reflect on people that came into your life and then left again, and if you revisit, you realize the kind of impact that so many people had on your life. And I remember that Sunday school teacher always said about, there's something in the Old Testament, I think, that says that people without vision will perish. And what she also said is that, I remember that clearly, that you must see and feel your vision. And this was it this morning. You must actually see and feel a vision. And it doesn't happen in organizations. You're right. You never see this, and this was powerful. This integrating and this bringing together of heart and mind is for some people, or for many people, maybe most people, an incredibly difficult challenge. But I think in a country like ours, it's something we need to put massive effort in. Let me use an example that all of us will know. Our first two presidents, in a sense, reflects what Jim was talking about. Nelson Mandela was someone, and I had the incredible privilege of training his staff. So, the Scottish anthem, I keep it on because it's so beautiful. Anyway, when he said, I cared about you, or I love you, we all knew that was exactly what it is. Because you not only heard him, you felt it. You felt it. This is honest and true. The next president that I actually knew personally, he visited our house, and I think he was a really good man. Thabo Mbeki. He was a very strong strategist and an analyst. And he tried hard But when he said, I cared about you, it was only words. There was hardly any emotion attached to the words. And that is where he went wrong. And that is, I think, in a way why I was rejected too. Of not understanding that heart and mind is not something that you say and do. It is something that eventually needs to be in your being. It needs to be in your being. You don't even have to tell people about it. They just know that it's in your being.